I'm Vincent Mears here at Tryddabydd in Llysfaen. This is going to be a short video about the damage which feral goats coming off the Arable SSSI and National Nature Reserve have been doing to our property, to the fences, to plants in the garden, to our crops, which is actually not only distressing but is actually a huge financial loss. The goats have been coming on to the property for the past 3 years. It's been getting progressively worse. This is showing roses which have twice been grazed down by the goats. There have been no flowers on them. There are annual flowers here in the border as well, which have also been grazed back. Coming further along into the garden, we have a willow tree here, and you can see the branch hanging down here. That's been, the goats have stood up on their hind legs and pulled that down and then grazed the foliage, and then they've also grazed it up here on the other side from the cloud at the back. And we're working round further on. We have a lot of fruit bushes and fruit trees out here, and we use the produce from them to make organic jams and chutneys, and we rely on this for our income. You can see here at the bottom of this damson tree that they've grazed off the foliage, and the same coming round onto this one, and this next one here. I'll just come round the back because I've been round the back here. Grazed off this side as well. And looking across the road, we own a cottage over the road called Araft, which is a former quarryman's cottage. We used to live there. We now let it as a holiday let. I've owned it since 1989, and we've never had to put up a fence before, but I've put up the stock fence that you can see there. But they're still working their way in from neighbouring gardens, and they've grazed off the roses, of the plants, the shrubs. 2 years ago they were on the roof of the shed grazing off the daisy bush next to it. Coming back through, this plum tree, as you'll see, has got broken branches and foliage grazed off it. At the bottom here, there's scarring there from where previously they've run their horns up and down it. This next plum tree here, there's been quite a bit of grazing of the foliage. They reach up and knock the apples off, try to eat them. Had foliage off this plum tree here. You can see there a broken branch on this cherry tree. Earlier in the year they grazed off all the flowers, so there was no fruit. This apple tree here is fairly young. We grafted it ourselves. It's about 4 years old, and I just come in here, see the branch down on the ground that was broken off a week ago, and all this bark was broken off here, so that branch will die. There was a lot of fruit on here, and all the fruit on this side they've pulled off. It's been grazed right up to the top. They've grazed over there. The hedge behind, they've grazed from the other side. Standing up with their front legs on the fence and grazing over the top. You see damage there, broken branch, and the leaves grazed. This apple tree as yet they haven't touched. The plum tree here, they were in last night, and they've had a good go at it. You can see branches pulled down to the ground there, and quite a lot of the foliage removed. This little apple tree was defoliated last year, and branches were broken. They've been in again this year, I've taped this one up and you can see they've broken it down again. And the one behind, see the fresh wound on there. This is just tragic. Coming around here, they've grazed some of the foliage and branches on the bottom of this plum tree. And if you look across towards the end of Awas there, you can see there's a sort of line up the side of the hedge on the outside, which is where they've been grazing with the feet up on the front. They've managed to get the top wire off where they've rested on it. This is a crab apple tree. They previously grazed off the bottom and all the fruit off the bottom, and they've been in again last night. And there's freshly broken branches there and lots of foliage removed again. All the fruit went from the bottom. Coming up along the cloud here, and then there's another plum tree. This is fresh. Last night, see a branch there broken off. They've been in with their horns and rubbed all the branch off. The branches there may die or certainly let disease in. The willow on the cloud here, they've grazed all off from the other side. Come along the top. They've grazed the bottom of this plum tree over here. This is was a new cherry tree that we put in 2 years ago, and they came in, and I just moved these new branches here. You can see that they took off all the bark, and the whole of the main part of the tree has completely died. One branch is removed altogether, and these new growths have been freshly grazed. Coming up here, and then had a go at this one. This apple tree has fruited for the first time since we planted in 2007, and they've come in here. You can see they've been trying to graze it and broken a branch there. Another branch was broken off which had two quite large apples on. All of the bottom of this plum tree has been grazed. They've broken a branch there. This small apple tree, they come and grazed all round the top of it. They've grazed the plum suckers here and the plum tree behind. I'll just come up onto the cloud, all playing defence on top, and show you how they come up from the neighbouring field, my neighbour's field. And then they put their feet up onto the top of the fence, leaned on it, pushing the fence post over, and then further along they've actually jumped over the top, and they come along all along the bottom of the cloud, along these plum trees and the hazels, grazing everything. See how the top of the stock netting is all bent. This plum tree, they've taken most of the leaves off. You can see the trampling on the cloud. They've actually broken the side of it down here. You can see where they've been coming right over there. All the top is trampled down. Top of the fencing is bent over. Come all the way along here. See on this hazel, the damage they've done with their horns there at the bottom, all up the side of this branch here. Now these are cob nuts. This is the first time they've fruited again since they came in since 2007. and these animals are just destroying everything. See with the fence at the top there, you can see the big bend in the top of the net, stock netting, where they stood on the top of it and then jumped and come all the way along here. Again, damage to the cob nut here with their horns at the bottom, taking all the bark off and the foliage. Similarly with this plum tree here, they've taken lots of leaves off, and this is damage from a previous attack last year with their horns, and it progressively weakens the plant, so we don't get, or will not get, any huge crops, and that is going to be a huge financial loss for us. But you will see that there are, there's Ronhevrid terraces over there, so if we're going to try and shoot the goats, it'd be very difficult because of the background with the houses around here, and you see there's more houses over there, and then at the bottom of our fields you have houses all along the boundary. The goats actually come in and out through one of those houses, come over the wall and then along through the bottom of the terrace and out onto the road, or vice versa. So we're under attack from all directions, and it's just not a sustainable situation.